What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CanesInSight Daily Podcast powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. It's Tuesday, so we got the man himself, Ahmmon Richards. It's going to be the best show we've done with him because so much to talk about, and we are preparing for a playoff run. Feels good to say. I'm going to keep saying it, keep reminding everybody before we get used to it and forget, although maybe we'll get used to it, hopefully after a few years of doing it. But first time, always something to appreciate. Want to appreciate your attorneys? Call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. They'll make it easy for you. 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. If you or someone you care about has been injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation. So take control of your life with Anajar and Levine. Pete, hop in.
D, good morning.
Morning, man. What's going on? How are you feeling?
I got to say, I'm glad Ahmmon is our guest this morning because I made a mistake last night before I tucked myself into bed. I made a big mistake, D.
What's that?
I watched Texas A&M's receivers, and I started getting, I didn't get a good night's sleep after that. I started getting some Louisville flashbacks of their playmakers. So I'm excited to talk to Ahmmon about that group, man. They are talented.
Hey, listen, it's the playoffs, man. You know, they got to watch Malachi Tony. They got to watch CJ Daniels making plays. They got to watch Keelan Marion. So they got to watch our stuff too. So that's playoff football, man. I'm fired up. We got a fan I wanted to shout out. Look at this. We got Jelaine Maxwell saying, "Go Canes. We're pulling for you on the inside." So all kinds of people coming out for the Canes playoff run. Let's bring in the man himself. Without further ado, the man who will forever be linked with Malachi Tony in his Hall of Fame career, Ahmmon Richards. Ahmmon, how we doing?
Doing good, man. How we doing, man? Hey, exciting times, man. Exciting times.
Yeah, you know, I wanted to I had a topic ready, but then we talked before the show and someone teed us up in the comments, so it perfect that we have you on. There's our guy D Hux saying, "AR, we need your insight on the Keelan Marion celebration video." I can't play it because the profanity. I don't know if it's for the whole family, but man, for those who haven't seen it, his girlfriend posted a video. He was just watching the announcement like everybody else, and when that orange and green logo flashed, he went absolutely insane. Very genuine reaction, telling everybody to lace your boots up, get ready to play. Ahmmon, when you see something like that, obviously, you know, you were in his shoes as far as being a Canes receiver. What goes through your mind when you see that kind of reaction?
Man, listen, it was refreshing to just see someone genuinely like behind the scenes, right? They're not doing it on their Instagram or anything like that. Like, that's just a genuine reaction of a player who really cares about the University of Miami. That's how I saw it. You know, it's refreshing to see like guys like genuinely want to be on this type of stage. Like, the reaction to me wasn't like, "Oh, we're happy to just make it." Like, we're here, but we're kind of like just, you know, packing it up. Like, it was like, nah, like, we got a lot to prove and we got this opportunity to go do so, and that's what we're gonna do. That's kind of how I read it. So, man, I was excited. I thought it was funny, you know, put the boots on. That's gonna be the phrase going forward, you know, tighten up your boots. You know, but man, it was good. I'm sure almost everyone on the team probably reacted like that, you know, because these dudes, you know, you put in so much work, man. And obviously we dropped the 2 games, you know, middle of the season, but when you really look at it, just the way they responded, the way they gotten better, like, it's almost like we deserve to have these extra games. Just the way we started humming on offense, defense was starting to, you know, everyone, you know, playing lights out, special teams, you know, we're doing our jobs, pinning teams deep. I mean, I just feel
And he
like
had all these people calling him a bum, man, early in the season, Ahmmon. He had these people calling him a bum. What was that all about, man?
Listen, it's a lot, man. Like, look, early in the year, to your point, Pete, yeah, we had guys, you know, like, weren't big on him for whatever reason. You know, I know he's not from South Florida. I know how I get. You know, hit from Georgia. But to me, like, when I'm watching him since since fall camp, watching him, and I just saw a receiver that was like very consistent. You know, he can catch the deep ball, like, he's explosive, can catch screens. So I didn't get the angle that people were saying he was trash. Like, he wasn't doing anything to get benched, you know. But to the point, as the season, you know, kept going, we've seen those 100-yard games pop up. We see him be consistent, make contested catches, and just kind of prove that he is a legit receiver and not just a gadget player. playing receiver. So it's good to see. And I just think the energy you saw in the video is, I think, what we are like if since that pick game, I just feel like the energy of the team is more like confident. Like we're actually going out playing games, and I feel like we're actually, instead of like allowing teams to stay in the game or, you know, mental errors and, you know, missed assignments. Like I feel like we're actually just like putting our foot to the pedal and just pressing it through the floor. And it's like, let's just go. Like, let's just go win. Like, just go play football, and let's not make these games and, you know, as stressful as they already are. Right. That's kind of how I see it.
And Ahmmon, I got a question, because something that I heard and I thought was interesting is, and I think Mario probably learned from seeing what happened with FSU a few years ago, but no cameras were inside the building, and the team did not watch it together as a team, which to me was interesting, because you keep hearing what Mario talks about. Mario has been very confident in, you know, where Miami stood in the whole thing, but at the same time, he says, you know, we aren't just happy to be here, right? We have to go get ready to play this game. And I thought, from the coach's perspective, you don't watch it as a team. It's like, you know what? This is just a step in the journey. This is nothing to really celebrate like that. Like, we're happy we're in, but let's not make it a big spectacle. So as a former player, like, what did you think of that decision? And, you know, do you think it, like, what do you think it actually mean?
Yeah. In my opinion, I just feel like, you know, sometimes you got to learn from your enemies. And it's just one of those things where, obviously, I think we did feel like we had a really good chance, and, like, you know, based on the resume, the head-to-head, I think part of it is just like, you don't want to get a bunch of guys in one room, right? You got one, you're fighting for one spot. You don't know what the committee is going to do, right? Even though you have all the facts and the data to back up your argument, you just don't know, because there's humans on the other side that are going to go into a room that's unsupervised, and, you know, they're making the rules up, you know, and they have their eye test, right? So you don't know. So I think that factor is enough to be like, you know what, the better thing to do for just a cultural like standpoint, like if you want to blow up, if you want to blow up your locker room, like, yeah, go sit in there and let them say you're out. Similar to Notre Dame, how they had like their whole thing and they didn't get the answer, and you heard their reporter saying players walked out and was upset and stuff. Like, I feel like it's just like, that's not really,
let them process it on their own, is what you're
exactly
saying.
Right. Yeah. You don't, you know, it's very high emotions, and, you know, so that's part of it. But to your point, like, I do think we're also was very confident that we're gonna get in, and it's just like, spend time with your family. Like, you guys are off, right? We're not gonna call you guys in from all over. I'm sure guys are probably out of town seeing family and stuff, because remember, this is Sunday, right? So usually on Saturday, Sundays, you're like off. So I'm pretty sure some guys out of town, some guys not even there.
Super weird week, because you're not practicing all week. I saw
exactly.
like Mawanoa was up in New York watching his brother play.
Exactly.
Like, guys weren't. Now they start practice today.
Yeah.
How quickly does that? I mean, we all saw the video that we're talking about with Keelan Marion. Yeah. I gotta imagine that flip has to switch pretty quickly,
immediately, like, because we know what's at stake now. Now it's like a 4-game season. That's just kind of how you got to look at it. It's 4 games for everything. So what are you gonna do, you know, over the next like month, essentially, to ensure that you give yourselves the best opportunity to, 1, win the national championship, 2, to be competitive in every game, and be prepared. So I think we probably hit the ground running. I'm sure guys, because they got their tablets, probably started watching film already on the team at Texas A&M immediately. I'm pretty sure guys were doing it on their own, right? Just to get an idea, right? We haven't watched A&M I'm pretty sure all year. We have no reason to. So I'm sure they probably hit the ground running, you know, probably Sunday night, and then, you know, Monday as well. And then now we're back into like that regular scheduling. Now I will say we have an extra week. So my thing is, and my question would be, if I had to ask anyone on the staff, like, how like amped up, like, how do you take that ball of energy and like conserve it for 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Because right now everyone's excited, right? Everyone wants to play right now, but we're not playing this week, right? So how do you like hone that in? You're hearing all the noise. You got other team players on other teams running their mouth already. How do you contain that for 2 weeks and then let it blow up on game day? I'm gonna be curious. Like, do we practice like in shells? Do we do full padded practices? Do we treat it like we have a game this Saturday? Like I'm curious to see how they go about it, without losing like the physicalness of like what we do, right? Because you still got to practice hard, you got to tackle, you got to thump. But how do you keep guys healthy? But at the same time, like raising that bar because we're going into playoff football where everyone has to be on point. You have to be physical, fast. I guess we're gonna see, but I'm just curious how they do these, practices for this week at least.
Yeah, and you look at the last time we had a little break, which was that bye situation. I thought against Louisville, first couple drives, our run defense was not, our tackling was really the worst it's been all year, and it's been pretty amazing all year. But that one period, where Isaac Brown, who he's fast, but he's not a big back, was breaking tackles and kind of making us look bad those first couple drives. I think that took a little bit of getting used to, right, coming off that break. But Ahmmon, we talked about this off the show, and I wanted to bring it up because as from a fan perspective, we're always like, yeah, of course, football players want to keep playing football. They want to keep going. They want to go to this bowl or that bowl or, keep playing. But the reality is, there are in certain teams, certain programs, certain people, just not everybody, but there's times where people are like, hey man, I'm ready to get my vacation going. I got things to do. I'm not trying to be waking up and working out at this time. So kind of from a player's perspective, explain that it's not always everybody wants to play all the time, even though you're living the dream playing college football.
So my thing and how I've seen it, and that's why I'm so happy we do have Carson Beck as our quarterback, someone that is used to being like in that like realm of things for long periods of time, right? Those extra bowl games, the conference championship games, like he's used to, even if he's not playing like the natty, just like practicing with the team, like the trips, the media. Like, so he's someone that is obviously a leader of the team as well. And he's able to kind of like lead by example in a way and like kind of walk these guys into this new path that we have never been to. Right. Also, I do feel like there's I don't even know if this is a real word or a thing, but I feel like that like competitive fatigue is what gets teams like at the end of the year, where to your point, guys are already thinking about vacationing, right? Going back home, right? For 2-3 weeks, you get off and you're chilling and you're riding back probably through your old high school, just kind of, seeing old people, type of thing. But like when you are used to being like in this type of spotlight or like mindset, like Carson Beck has at Georgia, where they're already mentally knowing that they're going to be playing extra 3-4 weeks or extra month, right? That's what they're used to. So like having those like guys in key spots that have been at these, like, I won't say bigger programs, but teams that have achieved more than we have in recent years, I think is going to be a beneficial, especially coming from a quarterback, to like get that knowledge and like that mindset and like let it trickle down through the team. Because like I said, like it's pretty much it's like a 4-game season for everything. Like every game's going to be a battle. Every game, you're playing against, other elite prospects, other great players. So, and to be honest, I think we just match up very good against really anyone in the field of play, because it starts in the trenches, in my opinion. I just think we match up with anybody.
Yeah. So it's not just the team, right? You also got to go to the environment. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere in College Station, one of the loudest, biggest stadiums there is in college football. What's the loudest environment you played in, and just how does that impact the actual players on the field? Let's just say offensive side of the ball.
So in my opinion, I mean, from my personal experience, the loudest place was definitely on the road, at least. Virginia Tech, my freshman year, it was a night game, Virginia Tech, so you can imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, Mark Rick first year, type of thing, Brad Kaya coming in, I'm just saying the hype coming into the game. And then, obviously it was a night game for them, and just like the whole like sand, like the jumping, and it was crazy. But to be honest, like you don't really hear it. Like once you're in the zone and like the game, like you're in, like you hear the crowd obviously, but you're not focused on the noise, right? You're focused on like executing your play, like getting the signals from the sideline, making sure you know what you're doing in your own mind. So you don't really have time. And also one thing I have learned to figure out, and I learned this from Penn State, is that the home team, whether they believe it or not, is still impacted by the same crowd. Why? Because you're still playing in front of 110,000 people and you have the pressure as well to perform and make all the catches and plays just as much as us. Like, we're in there with really nothing to lose because they don't like us. You're in there trying to prove your own people that you're very good or you can make the play consistently, right? So I'm just saying, like, just look at Penn State and all their whiteout games. Like, I'm just curious to see their record playing in front of their 110,000. I'm just saying.
It's weird to say about a team that hasn't been in the playoff yet, but as James Kane says, he says our veterans like Bain will be ready. They have experience at College Station, and it's not only him. We've talked about Beck. Mo Toure has played a lot of football, you know, in the Big Ten, has played in an environment with a lot of people there.
The offensive line.
So I think the whole O-line, and Wesley Basant, he's a guy who played against A&M as well a few years back. And to me, you can go team by team here, but in today's college football, it's going to be hard to say, okay, here's pretty much the entire or a majority of the team that came back that made a deep run last year. Because even if Notre Dame would have gotten in here and they made a run, new quarterback, a lot of different pieces from last year. They're a way different team from how they were structured. Some very important pieces in important spots, but that's how it's going to be. So I think the way that you talk about portal usage and how big it is that Miami can go out there and get big talents, but this is why you go out and get guys from certain programs as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, you said it. Like, we do have guys like CJ Daniels played at A&M at night last year at LSU. I know he posted on the story, you know, looking for some revenge, you know, or whatever.
Jacoby Thomas has played in environments like
exactly.
Like
I mean, Neyland Stadium, I'm sure at night is insane, right? Playing on the road at some games is probably so. We have guys like that's why I'm not like worried about the crowd noise, because at the end of the day, the 110,000, whoever it is, they can't do anything physically on the field, right? They can just make a bunch of noise, which is cool. But I just feel like at the end of the day, I'm comfortable knowing that we have a 5th-year quarterback, you know what I'm saying, with as much experience and wins on the road in different games than anybody. You know what I'm saying? I mean, me personally, I just think, you know, like playing at Bryant-Denny might be a little different than playing at A&M. That's just my opinion. I've been at Bryant-Denny. I've never been to A&M. I know it's loud. It's crazy. They got the power song to come out to, right, to get hype. I get it. It's probably lit. I would like to see it. But when the game's actually like played, like guys I can like lean on in this type of moment, Carson Beck.
And there was a comment in the chat. It's right. Bain didn't go there because Pete Bain was the year after, but he played.
That's right.
Yeah, but Basaint was there. And look, Bain, all these guys went to the Swamp last year. You know, the Swamp and Cal Field, you put them on, they're always on the same list right next to each other. So it's not like we're talking about a whole different animal here with that. Ahmmon, I want to get your thoughts on a comment Mario made. And this kind of goes to something I know you've seen in the spaces. I know you've seen in our chats, and it's been all over.
Yep.
I know on CanesInSight, people have been talking about this, which is Mario had an interview with Galloway and Herbstreit yesterday. And he said basically that he had to learn how to cut it loose a little bit more during the games. He didn't say like, you know, I did something different with the offense or anything like that. But he's just like, look, man, I had to remind myself, because you work so hard, you kind of have to be, you know, a little more loose on game day than maybe I'd been. We saw really since those trick plays, right, where Malinois scored a touchdown and I think Beck scored a touchdown. I felt like since then the offense has been more loose, having more fun. I don't know if it's all linked, but you who's been on offenses that have been rolling, offenses that have been struggling, like, is that a thing, is just being loose and being confident, having fun, like aside from the X's and O's and the talent of the thing?
Yeah, no, and I saw that as well. I commend them for just, I wouldn't say being vulnerable, but just kind of being more open about just like and honest about just what we're seeing, because people will try to call us crazy because we're seeing like everyone's getting tight, right? Like from like, I don't want to say not calling timeouts, right? But just like certain game points, like, you know, taking a knee or slow playing it before halftime. Like you can see like we're not loose, like we're like very like conservative and too tight. And that's just, to his point, like that's just not what Miami has been. Like we're more fun. I wouldn't say flashy, right? But we have fun playing offense, especially in Miami. And I mean, obviously at a time when, you know, Coach Rick was there and, you know, we had that like 4-game sputter where we pretty much kept, you know, can't really do much on offense. And then we just started ripping it, just letting the ball go, just throwing the ball deep, you know, just take shots. Like we got David Njoku at tight end on my outside, Stacey Coley, Braxton Berrios. Why are we not just giving us more opportunities. And I think once we started doing that, you saw a completely different offense all the way into the bowl game. So I think it's just one of those things where, coaches are learning, like they're still finding their way. I know Nick Saban, we all saw Coach Saban when he started, being the dominant coach, but you got to remember, I mean, he was coaching way before those times, right? So it's a lot of learning. It's a lot of adjusting. I'm sure there's things, the greats, change about their philosophy. I mean, I remember there was a time where Coach Saban, they were like pretty much focused on defense only, essentially. And as things adapted, times change, it gets someone like a Lane Kiffin in there and they start airing the ball out. And even then he was still fighting against it until he just let it go. And they end up winning championships, and adjusting with today's day and, age. And I just think, Mario is doing very like the similar things where the play calling looks different. Like we got a freshman receiver throwing touchdown passes. Like, I mean, if you would have told me that at the beginning of the year, we'd probably be like, that don't really seem like what we do, right? But now it is. It's part of our new kind of identity going forward. And I think it's that new momentum and like energy we needed as a player, like as players on the team and as a coaching staff, just to make it more fun. I don't think running directly in the middle out of, 22 personnel is fun. Receivers are going to be disengaged. The quarterback is probably out of the game. Like, it's just not really beneficial. But now we got, Beck slinging it around. He's confident. He's completed 80% of his passes. Like, everyone looks like they're having more fun because we're doing things more fun. Like, it just looks more fun. It's fun to watch. I'm sure it's fun to play in. I'm sure it's fun to like prep for, so, and I'm just glad we did it, so shout out to Mario, for making the changes and just, him and the staff just sitting down, like he said, and just watching the tape and just looking at all the things they do good and just finding that like new energy again, because I said it here, I keep saying it, like it's a long football season, like things can change so fast. I promise you. And I'm glad it changed for the better for us, right? After the SMU game, like you can see a completely different approach to the games. And you can see a different team.
Yeah, like people, it's funny, like in-game adjustments, they always get the coach credit, but it's an in-season adjustment. They're like, man, why didn't they figure this out the first time? They were so dumb. But it's like, you don't know who's going to emerge as a player. Someone might be better than you thought. Someone might not do what you thought they'd do. Guys get hurt. So, you got to give them credit for the in-season adjustment. One comment I'm seeing, Ahmmon, in the chat here, we're underdogs, right? The line's moving. Miami's getting tighter there, but we're underdogs. Is that something that players are aware of, like when they're playing, like what the actual spread is or anything like that?
I honestly no. I mean, today's different,
Yeah,
it's way different now. As crazy as it's not even 10 years, but yeah, it's like it's way different.
Yeah, at that time, man, Hard Rock, I don't even think like there was no betting apps and stuff in Florida. And I honestly I literally didn't even know what like the minus sign even meant. I literally did it until like I obviously, got out of the sports thing and was, able to actually.
It wasn't out there like that. It wasn't being advertised. So like,
yeah, for sure. So
I think, I don't know. I feel like they see it now.
Yeah, I'm sure they, they're
certain guys, certain guys aren't really on their phones like that on game week or don't really like engage in it. But I think other people, they're gonna see it.
Well, let's say more broadly, like you guys know you're like you're not expected to win.
I got
Forget the spread. Okay. Like just like, hey, you guys are like, you are not. It's not you against SMU where people expect you to win. This is a game people expect you to lose. You get a sense of that when you play, and does that make any difference one way or the other?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Yeah, just in terms of like, forget the spread and all that. Just like knowing, like, hey, we're an underdog. Like teams don't expect us. We're not expected to win this particular game. It's not like
going on the road. We're the 10 seed. They're the 7 seed. They're like, SEC.
Is that a thing that players have in their brain, or is it just like this is a team we're gonna go play these guys?
To be honest, like I'm sure, like you probably hear from like a family member, right, about certain things going on online, who said what, and then you obviously hear like Sports Center every now and then. Obviously we're watching sports, so you hear people like online really more so talking about, oh, I think A&M is going to do this and this and that. So you hear it, but honestly, like we go into a game like, especially of this magnitude, like I'm sure the other team is as confident as ever. Like they really believe they can be, and that's just the great part about sports. Like I'm not surprised that they believe that they're going to win, and then we believe we're going to win. So it's just a battle of literally two teams praying before the game that they're going to win, and they're colliding. It's just like any other game, honestly. Like you go in with the expectation, like I'm gonna do my job. We're gonna do our job as a team, and we're gonna go out there and try to win. And that's just kind of what we like normally think. But I expect the other team to think that they're better or think they're gonna win. So it's just kind of like not really valid, I guess. But whoever else says whatever is just they think they're gonna win. So
should we get into the matchup a little bit here? I don't know how much you've watched of them.
Yeah,
Ahmmon.
I've been watching.
But I mean, look, I was watching a lot of stuff last night. Marcel Reed, I mean, at quarterback, he's taken a big leap. I think obviously there's some inconsistencies with some of his ball placement, I would say, some of his inaccuracies. But I think what he lacks as a consistent thrower of the football, he makes up for in his playmaking ability. I think there's going to be a couple annoying plays where we feel like we have him in the backfield and he scrambles out to his left and there's someone wide open on an extended play. But at the same time, I think he has shown he has the ability to make mistakes in the face of pressure.
Yeah. And that's the thing where I just went back and I just really looked at different games they played. I mean, listen, I'm just going to be the one to say it because they're not going to say it. But how they're undefeated or they got one loss now, like how, I don't know. I really don't. Like they've been on the ropes numerous times throughout, with different teams. Arkansas is just one that come to mind that I saw and I just really went through and watched the game. Like I give them credit. They have talent. Like this is not a talent thing for them. But
we got to give a team credit for pooling games out.
Right?
Yeah,
I'm not winning. Yeah, games. I'm not. Yeah, like I'm not gonna.
I see what you're saying.
But it's just like they're not like. I don't see him as like a juggernaut type of like like Alabama back in the day. I don't see that. I just see like a very talented team. They do a lot of things very good, and they got an overall like a really good roster. But the one thing I keep noticing is that I really do think their quarterback is a one-read quarterback, and I'm really curious to see what Heatherman cooks up to make him go through those progressions or if he has time to really do it. Because every time I'm seeing, it's almost like the plays are like pre-designed. Like I wouldn't say they have like shot plays, but that's what it seems like. Like they have like a lot of like there's no way to put it besides like, hey, this play is designed for the X receiver. You're running a post because more than likely they're in cover 2. And he's like dropping back, and in his mind, he's throwing that post route. That's kind of what I see. So I think if you're able to change a picture on him and make him think, make him get out of his comfort zone, I think Texas did a really good job. Also, mentioning Texas, them stopping the run, like I don't know the statistics, but I just don't think they're a very good run stopping team. I think they bank on you being in passing situations constantly, and that's where they pin their ears back and get after you. And I think we can control the line of scrimmage on offense and run the ball very well. Like I think this is a game where someone like Mark Fletcher, like that hammer, like hitting, picking up those 4 or 5 yards a carry. Like I think that could be the thing that weakens their like pass rush ability. And I think it'd be different. I think we got to run the ball very well this game to really. I'm not gonna say to win because I think we can pass and win it as well, but control the line of scrimmage and run the football is going to be the name of the game, in my opinion. And we saw Texas do it. And Texas is, I don't know what they are statistically running the ball, but we saw them pop in a bunch of different runs the whole game. So I think we kind of got to mirror that a little bit, mix that in with a few plays. Malachi Tony making some big explosive plays down the field, and I think
throwing it a few times.
Yeah, like I think we'll be happy with the results.
No, to answer your question, Texas can't run at all. I'm talking about the University of Texas. They're 92nd in the country right now. And that's after lighting up Texas A&M. They were one of the worst. They were in the hundreds before that game. So, that was an eye opener for Texas to run that way against Texas A&M. Particularly did it outside as well. Really, I think Texas A&M struggled to set an edge. They got smaller pass rushing type of dudes. Obviously, we got big tackles that can go after those guys.
Good question here, or good comment from Kyle saying, is anyone talking about the A&M offensive coordinator Colin Klein, who took the head coaching job at Kansas State? The Colin Klein who once terrorized Miami as a player at Kansas State in the Al Golden era. but I saw he took the job. I didn't realize he's not even coaching the team. That is interesting.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that either. I thought he was.
Elko's a defensive guy, so it's not like the head coach can just take over and it's a seamless transition. But
No, I don't know the
inner workings.
I think
Elko
he is.
I thought he was a defensive. Who?
I thought he was staying on as the OC. He's just gonna be like kind of distracted.
Someone else said he's. John Z said, I saw he's not coaching in the game.
All right, we'll get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, I thought I saw something that he was coaching.
Yeah, I mean, either way, look, it's a distraction. I know Lane Kiffin. He's doing both. He's doing both. I just confirmed. But like Lane Kiffin, I remember was doing that, and Saban sent him home. He's like, nope.
He tried it for like a few days. I remember that, and then he was like, nope, never mind.
Yeah. So
and Sark was it Sark who ended up taking over from him at that time because Sark was the QB coach or something.
Right. So they got pretty good. They got a pretty good mix. Oh, wait, John's. We'll get to the bottom of this because it's obviously murky. But either way, I mean, bottom line is whatever the situation is, it's not going to be the same way it was. So that's got to be a factor. Ahmmon, I want to ask you about this because from a receiver standpoint, we always got to ask you about the receiver position.
Yeah.
And when I look at Texas A&M, and I watched them all day yesterday, one thing that jumped out to me was they really have. Sometimes people say you want your receiving core to look like a basketball team, right? Where you have a big guy, you got small guys, you got medium guys, different skill sets. They got one guy, one type of guy. They have four of them, right? Between Concepcion, Craver, number 3, and Bussy, number 2. All those guys, small, quick, after the catch, and then going straight down the field. So if you're defending a team where all their receivers can hurt you with their speed and their ability to run and make guys miss, but nobody's got speed, no one's got size. There's not really a contested catch receiver that I saw, and I watched 8 games. Like there's not only they got one contested catch wide receiver. Like how do you attack that if you're Miami, and what are just some of the practical things that go into playing receiver at that size?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, like, yeah, they got a lot of smaller guys. But I will give them credit. They're like very explosive, very good route runners, pretty good hands, just overall. I know they have some drops, but overall pretty good hands. Number 3, I think, is more like their down the field guy. Concepcion, I think, is a guy that can get vertical underneath. Like he can kind of do it all. Craver is just really dynamic as well. So I give him credit. I think they did a pretty good job, like with the receiving core, helps their quarterback out a lot. I think it hides some of his deficiencies as well. But how to defend that, I just think at the end of the day, like you have to trust your guys, right? I think I trust guys like Xavier Lucas, Ethan O'Connor. Bryce Fitzgerald has been pretty good coming in since Keontae, kind of went down, just playing that spot. Zachary Poyser has been very good in the secondary along with Jacoby Thomas. So I just think it's one of those things where you just kind of got to play ball, but this is going to come down to like who watches the more film, like who's more prepared. That's just what it's going to come down to. I just think Texas A&M had a lot of tendencies. I'm not going to say on here, but I think they have a lot of tendencies that on offense and defense, that if whoever watches the most film and whoever comes in with a better game plan go win this game. That's just what I believe. They're going to do their part, right? They're going to make catches. They're going to take a 5-yard hitch, right? And they're going to make a guy miss. They're going to get some yak. That's what they do over there. And I just think it's just containing and like keeping those big explosive plays to a low. That's just how I see it. You don't want them.
Craver stood out to me. Craver stood out. Sorry, go keep.
You just don't want them like getting like that momentum, right? You want to limit the explosive plays. That's how you're going to win the game. Their run game, I didn't even notice. I didn't even mention it.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I don't see them having a really good run game. They have some pretty good run plays, especially in the red zone. I give them credit. With the leg options for Marcel Reed, like they kind of put your safeties in like no man's land a little bit.
Yeah,
in the red zone for sure. So we'll see. And I think Pitt did a good job in the red zone on that one play, just making our safeties like react. So we'll see how we play in the red zone. But overall, the run game, I'm not impressed. But the passing game and the receivers they have, I will give them credit. There are some guys that, they could make you pay, really on any given play. just because of the yak. Like, I just think they do a really good job of getting yak after that. The first guy, like, they're always trying to make the first guy miss. They're not these possession receivers. I don't see them as. But to your point, D, like, can they make these contested catches consistently? I don't think they're the best contested catch team, but when they do catch the ball, you just got to make sure you're ready to swarm and tackle, which, again, we do pretty well overall.
And just in terms of coverage, because like, so we established these guys, they can run by you, right? But they can also run after the catch. Do you play more man and risk, hey, man, these guys might be able to run by us? Or do you play zone and risk, hey, they're going to catch the ball with some space and then they can do things with it? Like, how do you approach that in your opinion?
Man, I think this is where I was saying you have to like change a picture. I think we got to do a good combination of both, to the point where Marshall Reed is wondering before the snap, like, what are we in, right? Is it man? Are they blitzing? Whatever. And I think Heatherman does a pretty good job of somewhat, I don't even say disguising, because we do have like that base kind of defense a little bit, but you got to mix it up, right? You don't want to sit in man all game. Like, we talking about explosive slot, smaller guys who are usually a little bit quicker. And to our point, we have bigger corners, right? Most of our guys are 6 foot, 6'1".
Yeah.
You know, so we're on a bigger side. So you don't want to just have guys just in man coverage every single play. There's going to be times for that. And I think we'll call it based on the flow of the game. You know, but there's no real like recipe, you know, to say, hey, how to stop, 3-4 dynamic receivers. It's just, you got to trust your guys. You got to go out there and execute and have a really good game plan, which I think I'm certain we'll have one. Because I want to say, last thing I want to say, a lot of these teams in the playoffs, like, I just really feel like they're not trying to out gimmick you, right? Like, they have their philosophy, they have their scheme, and they're going to run their scheme. Like, we're at the end of the season. There's no new playbooks that come in, like Louisville throwing in plays they never ran before. That's just not how like these teams operate. Yeah. Why? Because they feel like their guys are better than yours. That's just what this comes down to. Like, no, our guys are better than yours. Our offensive line is better than your D line. Our quarterback is better than yours. Our receivers, you can't guard them. That's just how they think. And if you think I'm lying, just listen to the offensive lineman. And that's truly how they think. Like, that's just how teams at this type of level think. Like, they're not better than us. I'm not worried about Ruben Bain. Like, we're good.
Well, I said yesterday, Ahmmon, he definitely just looked at the box score, like, yeah, and said, "Oh, he has 19 tackles and 4.5 sacks this year. Like, what am I to be concerned about?" He's an NFL draft guy too. Obviously, Bain projected first-round pick, but this guy is one of the highest graded tackles. And, I think him and Francis, I'll see if I pull it up, are like, the only two, the tackles with like the two tackles with the most snaps who didn't allow a single quick pressure, which is like 2.5 seconds or less. So he for sure feels like he's that guy.
100%.
But game day will
100%.
will tell the story.
You got to think, like, if you got guys, right, who are probably going to play in the NFL, like, I'm sure that kid's probably going to go, right, get drafted pretty high in the NFL, whatever. And you got to think about NFL, you're playing the best of the best every day. So you have to have the mindset that I don't think this other guy's better than me. Like, I think we're better than you. And that's just how a lot of guys at top universities think, So I'm not mad at what he said. I do think it's more of that bulletin board material that you don't want to give the other team, right? An extra piece of motivation to go a little bit harder. But to be honest, like, everyone's going to be going hard for this game. Like, this is going to be guys flying around, hard nose, your classic playoff football. That's just what we're going to see. But yeah, those guys think like that, and it's not surprising.
I'll tell you what, man. Mario has mastered the art of not giving anyone bulletin board material. They were asking him about Marcel Reed yesterday, and he said he thinks he should be a finalist for the Heisman Trophy. He said he should be in New York.
Hey, listen, I
like Reed. I do, but I don't think that's probably taking it a bit far.
Yeah, I give coaches credit, man. They know how to, do their, say, and I get it. Right? You always want to give respect to the other opponent, right? Just
did you hear what Elko said about Malachi? He said the little slot. Did you take that as he's like that little slot's a good player? Did you take that? Did you take that a certain type of way? That. Please
don't ever call me little slot, but then turn around and say I'm great. Nah, don't mix the two, because it's like to me it's like a backhanded compliment. It's like he's good, you don't really want to say it, but you're kind of want to give like the respect factor. So you're gonna throw in like a little like undertone, like little jab at him, like the little guy, like, you know, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure Malachi's the same size as like their two best receivers. So
Right.
I mean, you know, but that was definitely like a little backhanded compliment for sure. 100%.
Like from the switching to the kind of putting yourself in Bain's shoes when you see something like this, I mean, does that sharpen your game? Like, I mean, not that he needs motivation, but he's the kind of guy, it seems like he likes it.
Yeah. Nah, hey, listen, I'm not much of a talker, and I don't think Bain strikes me as much of a talker, but it's one of those things like I like showing you better than I can tell you. Like you can say whatever you want. Like I mean, there's times like if I think back to high school, like going into the game, people, oh, this corner gonna lock you up. This guy gonna lock you. It was like a weekly thing, right? This guy gonna lock you up now. And then every single week you give him the business because like we're about the actual play on the field, right? I'm not gonna do too much talking. Notice Bain, like he writes in his notebook, right? But he's not posting it, you know, before the game. He writing in his notebook private because that's really how he feels. So I just think a guy like that is like that extra like switch, because I think Bain has that switch where he like turns into like that monster like on game day. And I just think this is like that extra fuel where when he's tired, he's fatigued, right? We need him to shoot a gap, right? Or take on 2 blocks. Like this is the type of like bulletin board or like extra noise you need to like get through that like part of the games, right? Because you're gonna have those points where they're going tempo, you're tired, but that extra little motivation where you want to prove this guy so bad is that you don't want to come up the field, you're gonna do whatever it takes to prove that you are that guy. And I just think I could be wrong, but so far I haven't been proven otherwise. That I think Bain is just that guy where when he's pissed, right, and he's playing on edge, he's a different type of player. I think Bain coming in and there's no noise, there's no ruckus. I think he still is dominant, but he kind of, you know, he does his thing. But I think when it comes in, it's a little noise, chirping, and who's better. And Notre Dame offensive line is this, and they're great. And I think even Notre Dame offensive lineman says something coming into the game. We see what happens. So we'll see.
I like this comment from Plank Time. Bain is mid. You tell him I said that when you see him.
I ain't telling him. Hey, I'm not telling him that.
Yeah, I'm not telling him that. Whatever it takes to get him fired up.
Yeah, they try to get. I get it. Try to get him juiced up. I'm with it. I'm for it. It.
We'll go back to the matchup here real quick. Just want to take a quick second to talk about our friends at KashKick, KashKick. Give your free time a raise. You're already gaming, browsing, sharing your opinions. What if that time earned you real money? Download the KashKick app right there in the App Store. 4.5 plus average rating, 1.5 million plus downloads. KashKick in the App Store. Download it, and that money will go straight into your PayPal just for playing games, browsing, doing surveys, giving your free time a raise. KashKick, KashKick in the App Store. So my
Kyle
one thing
says
I need
an AI video of Elko talking bad about Miami. You don't need an AI video. We have it from the Notre Dame game when he was the D coordinator over there.
Hey, listen.
He was talking about the chain and stuff, right?
Hey, man, the only thing you have to say, man, just a few words, you know, and sometimes that's just what a team needs, man, to get that extra juice. Like I've seen it timing, and I've seen it throughout my lifetime of playing sports, from youth league all the way up, where there's always some coach or somebody saying something that they shouldn't have said, and it gives the other team the spark that they need, you know, to go out and play ball. Now, like I said, there's no guarantee, right? I'm sure we're chirping, but we do at least behind the scenes, you know. Like we gonna keep it internally. We just gonna go out and play ball. But Elko Liz, I mean, he's kind of been a free spirit. I don't know. Like he has a thing of kind of speaking how you feel, or his team, you know, saying a little something before the games or whatever. So end of the day, the game gonna get played between the lines. All the talking at some point, you have to back it up, and we'll see. You know, we'll see who wants it more.
D, before you get to him on, because this one question every 2 or 3 minutes that comes up, guys, and I know we're gonna get it every day until game time, but I might have to clip this up, D, because I might have to just send this clip around. Keontae Scott, we don't know one way or another what's gonna happen with him. He's been working back. He's been hopeful. The boot is off. He's moving around. There's 12 days till game day, 11 days till game day. we're fingers crossed, hoping for the best. I don't think anyone knows for certain what's going to happen there, but there's definitely hope, man. I mean, he's dealing with a tricky injury there, so that's so there you can never say for certain, but
yeah. And I was going to touch on that, right? Because I've had the same injury.
Oof.
It's literally based off feel, right? When we talk about your foot, like we're talking about, like I don't think people realize how much you use like your toes and your lower, like that, your foot, like especially in a sport where everything in your force is coming off your foot. Especially at cornerback, everything you're doing is you're like squatted, you're always bending. Like it's just one of those things where it has to feel right. So there is no real like timetable, in my opinion, because it's just off his body, how it responds, and when it's ready to like answer to those like, you know, shocks. Essentially, that
it's like the quick reactive movements,
like,
right? Because
exactly,
that's
like,
you can't really brace your body for that. It just happens.
Exactly. And that's just the difficult part. And that's a frustrating part because one day you could literally feel like, okay, like when I'm sitting down doing nothing, like I'm good. I don't feel the pain. But then as soon as you get on the field and you cut, like you kind of like don't have that same explosiveness. So you're not ready. So why would you go out there and not be able to cut and plant, which is literally what makes you a great cornerback? It don't make sense. So I just think it's one of those things where as time go on, like it'll be a field thing, and hopefully one of the games, you know, he can come back. Hopefully sometime soon. Like, you know, to your point, like we got a few days, like 12 days, 13 days, whatever it is, to the game. So hopefully he can get that feel that he's looking for and that comfortability. It will be great to have him back, but I don't see him like being rushed back. It's not that type of it's just not an injury you're rushing back and you're playing through. I promise you. It's just not one of those.
And I know he's not a nickel, but you got OJ Frederick back. So, I mean, you're going to have a lot of defensive backs out there. You want Scott. Obviously, he's one of the best defensive backs in the country and a perfect nickel. But, you know, you don't want him struggling, right? Especially with these guys that they're hard to chase with 100% health, right, with the speed they got. But, you know, switching to, like, Miami on offense, going and watching Texas A&M, and this is backed up by the stats, they really don't do a great job finding the football. They're really low in interceptions. And if you watch their film, a lot of times those 50-50 balls, they might have good coverage. Des Ricks, who was a 5-star recruit a couple of years ago, like they'll cover guys, but they're not necessarily quick to find the football. That part of the game, and I think back to Bill Belichick talking about that one of the things he looked for on DBs before, like that he maybe valued more than other coaches, was ball skills, like being able to find the football. That like he was real strong when he was drafting DBs like and corners, like they got to find the football in the air or else I don't really want them. I don't care if they're 4.3 and long and all that. With a guy like CJ Daniels, obviously you were one of these guys. So speaking from experience, just that moment where DB might have coverage on you, but who finds the football first? I mean, how important is that to just producing at the receiver position, the ball skills aspect of those battles?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge part. I mean, that's a difference. So we talk about impact plays, right? We talk about PBUs and interceptions. There's a difference in the NFL where a lot of the top corners, like a lot of them get interceptions, right? I mean, that's what you want. You want guys who get turnovers, get picks. I didn't know much about their secondary as far as like interceptions and stuff like that. I mean, that's pretty good to see. I'm not saying they're not ball hawks. Maybe they're just in good position, or maybe they're getting a lot of sacks, whatever the case may be. But yeah, I mean, I think the thing that frightened me the most was thinking about Louisville and how like their DBs actually was like making plays like on the ball. Like they were making catches like receivers. Like that's the part I was like kind of confused by. I don't know if they got receiver backgrounds. I don't know. So, hey, as long as, A&M defenses, DBs don't have those type of ball skills, we'll be fine. To your point, throwing 50-50 balls, like most DBs aren't catching interceptions on 50-50 balls more times than not. So we'll see. I think we'll take some chances down the field. I think you guys said they have a former 5-star guy. I think they got a Kansas State transfer in number 4. They got some pretty good guys. They got size, they got length, but we went up against a pretty good Notre Dame secondary. We've played, I think Florida has a pretty good secondary. Like we've seen our like man corners, our zone defenses. So I just think at this point, like you just got to go out there and make plays at the end of the day.
To your point, Ahmmon, so you think about the games where Carson Beck threw multiple interceptions, right? Which is going to be, I believe, 3, which is pretty much, if you think about it. So he had 10 interceptions on the year, right? He had 4 against Louisville. He had 2 against USF, and he had 2 against SMU, if I'm remembering that correctly. He had the one against Pitt where it slipped out of his hand. Yep. But really, it was those 3 games. And USF, he played great, but he did have some picks at the end. Mm-hmm. I just pulled up right now the leading intercepting teams in the country. We've played a lot of them. Notre Dame's actually number 1. I don't think we threw an interception against them. But if you look at it, and Pittsburgh too, number 9. I don't think we threw an interception, or we did the one with Beck. But SMU also tied for 9th, Louisville 12th, and then USF right behind them. You got to go all the way down to Texas A&M at 125. So it's like, Beck made some bad decisions on some of those plays. Think about Louisville. Certainly some decisions you want to have back. But they also made some great plays. And we've played some ball-hawking secondaries, which Texas A&M, they got a lot of strengths. That's why they're in the playoffs, right? I'm not saying there's a reason why they're there. But, maybe you can let it rip a little bit, knowing that they're not as much of a threat to take the ball away as some of the teams you've already played.
That's kind of what that's what I was alluding to, where like Carson Beck, like in this game, like I'm leaning on him as well. Because in this, like we've seen a lot of different secondaries. Like people can say whatever about the ACC or whoever we play, but you just seen the stats just now about past defenses, and a few of those teams we've already played. Like they're in the top 10. So when I'm saying like A&M, like I know they have a pretty good third down defense, like the best in college football. I get all that stuff, but at the same time, it's like we've seen like a lot of different really good defenses already. So. Look, I think I'll leave it to the coaching staff to come up with a really good game plan, and I think Carson Beck will, be efficient. I mean, I think he's hot right now, and he strikes me as one of those streaky quarterbacks where when he's comfortable, he's hot, and he's feeling it, and he's seeing the field, like he's flowing. And I think that's just kind of where he's been the last 4 weeks, and that's why I'm excited that we had another opportunity, because I think just now he's starting to hit his stride, and the offense is starting to like pick up steam, going right into the playoffs. Reminds me of what Clemson was doing last year towards the end of the year, where they started heating up and they started getting pretty good towards the end. And then, I'll say they lost in the playoffs, but I'm saying like just that momentum carrying into the playoffs, I think is huge.
No doubt about it. We're going to let you go here, but I wanted to ask, we're getting a lot of questions about the running game. Now, Texas A&M, they do certain things really well on defense, certain things not as well. You talked about sacks, talked about the third down defense. Some of the takeaway stuff not quite as good. Where they're weak, particularly, I think, is just their rush defense. They're 67th in the nation in yards per carry against. Texas really, really ran on them. A lot of questions in the comments about how to use Fletcher versus Pringle. You mentioned, how Fletcher could soften him up a little bit. Pringle and what he's brought to the offense. How do you see him now? We're going to the playoff level now. Talk about true freshmen, guys who played a ton. Now going to that playoff level. How much do you lean on a Gerard Pringle with what he's shown?
Hey, I don't think you switch it up. And let me. I know that's a crazy word to use right now. I'm not saying you don't change different plays or use different stuff, but the scheme and way we're using him, like you continue that, right? I think getting him out in space, getting him outside, using that speed, it slows down a pass rush at the end of the day, and if you just think about what our kryptonite was for us, when we think about the Louisville game, what did they do very well? Fast running back, get him outside, making those edge rushers, those speed rushers actually have to defend the run. And those blows, like it's like a boxing match. Those blows, those jabs all game, running, they have to, stop the run. They got to run into Markel Bell, not try to run around him, or they're not running through him. They got to, and now you got to that constant blow every play, all, throughout the game. Guys tend to take a little step back. So I think seeing, similar style to how we did versus Pitt, where you seen Mark Fletcher in there, he's going through the, playing between the tackles, and, he's thumping, running hard. And then you got Pringle getting outside as well. I just think you want to kind of keep that 1-2 punch going. And I don't know if Jordan Lyle's playing. I have no idea. And if he is, great. I don't know. But I think right now the hot hands are those two guys I just mentioned. And I just think you'll see a heavy dose. And I didn't even mention Marty Brown, like, being like that late in the game, third, fourth quarter, coming in, like having like that extra juice, which what he did very well for us in the beginning of the season. I think you want to
gotta have fresh legs right now.
Yeah, you got to have that going into playoff football. You need a guy that's fresh. That's how I see it. So
it's funny because we talk about all year, hey, this could be a 17-game season, and here we are. We've got game one of that coming up here, man. And this is where you see everyone starting to get healthy now. And I just think that you got to give credit. I think the staff has managed things well when it comes to the players' bodies and usage for the most part.
Yeah, and look, the thing that I'm just excited, man. Honestly, I'm excited. I know Pete, you is excited about the back-to-back 10 wins, great accomplishment. But the fact that we're sitting here talking about being in the playoff and we're actually in the dance, like we're in the dance, and now we can, because you know what I got tired of seeing, watching the playoffs and like watching them, like, man, we could actually play with this team or this team defense. They couldn't have stopped Cam Ward. Like we would have had a shot. But now we're actually in that dance.
The defense may have had an issue last year.
Hey, they might have, but how I see it is like who was going to stop the offense? It probably would have been like 50 to 55 every game. But it's just like, I just got annoyed watching it last year and just seeing the teams I got in there, seeing Clemson go on the road and, get beat by Texas. And I was just like, in the SMU, pretty much a non-factor versus Penn State. Then we go on to see Penn State literally not complete a pass to a receiver in a football game. I'm like, why? There's no way. Like, we just can't never get in the dance. And we finally were in the dance for once, so I'm excited to see what we do. I know it's going to be pretty good to see. I'm confident in our team. I know, the fans, I get it. Everyone gets nervous, but I'm confident in what we're going to put together. So
fired up, man. The best in the business, Ahmmon Richards. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
I appreciate it, man. Go Canes, and welcome to the playoffs.
Welcome to the playoffs. Go Canes, baby.
Okay.
Let's go. In the dance. Love it. Love it, Pete. So, real quick, before I want to talk about the matchup a little bit more. Ahmmon, great as always. I want to talk about the matchup a little bit more first. I want to talk about a couple partners first. Listen, we got some guys getting healthy, and we get to thank University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute, but you don't have to be a UM player to experience that. If you're just an active guy or consider yourself an athlete, how hard it is to sit on the injured list with pain or injury. Maybe you can try to hack your own rehab. But if compromising your movement or performance is not an option, call the experts at the University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute. Whether it's elite competition with Miami Hurricanes athletics or just everyday movement, the University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute is the trusted choice for those who demand excellence. Set an appointment today at uhealthsports.com. Also, where we're going here, Pete, in a couple hours for dinner. Me and you both will be at Duffy's Tavern right there on the edge of Coral Gables, the home of the Hurricanes, which makes sense because the Touchdown Club's going to have a big dinner there. Don Bailey's going to be there, me and you. It's going to be a lot of Canes luminaries there. Not that we are, he is. But, it's going to be a Canes deal over there at Duffy's Tavern because it is the home of the Hurricanes. Watch the Bulls there. Watch the NFL there. This is December, man. And Miami's still alive and football is still rocking and rolling. It's peaking. So don't miss a game. Go to Duffy's Tavern. They got all TVs, the hometown feel. Plus, they got the classic menu, new items. They're taking credit cards after 60 years, finally taking credit cards. Duffy's Tavern, the home of the Hurricanes. Pete, what's going to be your order tonight?
I don't know, man. I gotta figure it out when I get there. I haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah, just go with the flow. But yeah, so you were watching it. I was watching as well. I mean, definitely the receivers, they're explosive as can be. I mean, the offense is good. I was honestly, the receivers were impressive. The offense
Craver had better balls. I mean, Craver plays bigger than his actual size too. I think he can snatch it a bit.
He does, and he breaks tackles. He saw against Notre Dame. He's got great balance. He can break tackles, even though he's against smaller guy. To me, what jumped out with Texas A&M was their offensive line. Very, very good. I knew that going in, but seeing it, just the way they play together, their pass blocking, they're veterans. They have good size. They have good NFL talent. I don't know if they have.
Be careful. Don't give them too many props. They're going to start saying that you're that you're, talking out of line. When I said the same thing, people got on me.
Well, listen, I think we're gonna win, but
I think so too. After watching more yesterday, I feel very confident. I think there are points. I think there are things that they have that Miami did struggle. Like I brought up at the start of the show, those receivers. I understand that they aren't the biggest, but they're dynamic. And even we've talked a lot about Concepcion and Craver. But this freshman, Bethel Roman, I mean,
that's the name. Yeah.
Dude, he's averaging 23 yards a catch. He's a track guy. He's not tiny. He's about 6 feet. But he can go. He can go. 5 touchdowns, only 20 catches, but 459 yards and 5 touchdowns. So they've got a stable of receivers. And again, this is to me the best group that they faced all year.
Yeah, track star. You got 23-inch high jump or 23-foot high jump plus for.
But this is why you loaded up on DBs. This is why you did what you did in the portal, right?
100%. What's his name? Number 2, Terry Bussey's explosive too. He almost took a kick to the house in one of the games I saw. So yeah, I mean they got 4 guys that are very similar, but they're similar in good ways, meaning like they all can take the top off and they can run after the catch. They got 2 tight ends, number 87 and number 17. I believe number 17 is from Sweden. But both of those guys have good size, good length. They can catch over the middle. I wouldn't say they're tight, like they're threats, but they are good. Like they're solid. Like they'll catch the ball. They'll work the middle of the field. But yeah, offensive line jumped out to me. Quarterback, good players, poise, smart, good deep ball. I think with him, with Marcel Reed, he's small. So what really threw him off was when he had to when he was moving, he was okay. But when he just was like a little bit off platform, like off balance, and his mechanics got messed up, like when he was uncomfortable, his accuracy was bad. I mean, bad. Like now when it's set, he can make throws all day, but he missed like a lot of his interceptions and some of his throws that maybe should have been intercepted. And I think he ranks pretty high as far as turnover worthy throws, according to PFF. A lot of that was just inaccurate throws. Like he'd make the right decision, but he'd be a little off and he wasn't setting his feet right and he would just sail it. So that to me is a key. It's not easier said than done with the offensive line Texas A&M has, but there's a big difference between when Reed is set with his feet and when he's not, even more so than maybe other quarterbacks. And he's small, so just kind of, bodies around him can mess him up. The offense, but though overall is good, really good. And it's a lot better. Number 8, Moss, Lavian Moss.
Mm-hmm.
I understand he's playing in this game. That's what the buzz is, but they're way better when he's there than when he's not. Like he is an impactful guy for them. He's like their Fletcher, really. They have the explosiveness from other areas of their team, but he's the guy that gives them the ability to run in the deep red zone, kind of sets the tone for him. If he comes back, that's going to help him a lot. But defensively, and I want to get your thoughts on the defense, Pete. I thought the offense was, I'll say better than I thought because I thought it'd be good, but the offense is good. That's why they're in the playoffs. I thought their defense was worse than I expected.
Leaky is the word. They seem to have some busts on the back end. We were just talking about the secondary being a bit of a weakness, but there were big plays available downfield for the opposition. So it's something to be exploited potentially. I mean, we saw it. We also saw that first half with South Carolina too. The last couple of weeks ago, we were watching that game at the Licking.
Yeah, we were. Man, I missed that. We got to go back.
We were talking. I mean, we thought they were going to lose that game for sure. Remember, we were talking to people in the comments about it.
We should do a live stream from like the Belk Bowl or the Bahamas Bowl and let the Licking, just as long as they give us free food, we'll do it. It's on the table. I'm getting flashbacks of that first half, eating that fried broccoli. But yeah, I said like I thought they'd be more, given that Elko's the head coach and that they're such a good team. They're not that physical on defense. Like that was what I was surprised by the most. Like I thought they were going to be, maybe they have weaknesses in certain areas. I thought they're going to fly to the ball, tackle, but like just watching again, game by game by game, they miss a ton of tackles, like a ton. And they're not that physical for how good they're going to be. Jacked up, like it's playoffs, the crowd is at home. They're going to be flying around. So some of that is going to be mitigated early because they're just going to be so fired up, but
they'll be amped. Yeah.
Yeah. We play a lot harder. On top of having just better players on defense, we play a lot harder. Now, the flip side is they are just much more explosive on offense. That's just they are significantly more explosive because of the speed they have.
I mean, we haven't really outside of Louisville, but Louisville didn't try to attack us this way. Outside of Louisville, I mean, we haven't really played a team that tried to consistently go at us, right? And I think that you talked about their explosiveness. You can get them. You can have a couple good plays on them. You can get them in a third and 10 plus, and boom, you miss a tackle and they're gone. We haven't really played too many teams with guys on the outside like that. I mean, Florida has those guys, but Miami's defense obviously did their job in that one. Florida, Louisville. Other than that, who else has had those guys on the outside? And I love the defensive backs group. I think they've been phenomenal this year. They've been well coached. Guys have gotten better. A lot of guys who've lived up to expectations. A guy like Zechariah Poyser, who there were questions about him early in the season, and he's continued to get better. I believe in that group, but this is a way bigger test than I think anything we've seen. And I don't think anyone else has really had the capabilities to try to test us. Ahmmon made a really good point about A&M's going to believe what they do is going to be good enough, right? And Miami's going to believe what they do is going to be good enough. But at the same time, I'm sure they will go back and look at certain things that worked, along the way that other teams have used against Miami.
No doubt. Yeah, compared to Louisville, I mean, I think I know Concepcion and Bell are kind of rated pretty similar right now in the mock drafts. I think I've seen mock drafts having them both in that like borderline first, second round range. I think of all the receivers, I put Bell above all of them by like a tier. Like I think Bell is a real deal, like potential NFL number one receiver. I don't think anyone on Texas A&M is there, but where they really, I think, beat Louisville is, their third and fourth guy can really break open the game. Of course, their first and second can as well. So I think the depth of playmakers for Texas A&M puts them over Louisville, but Louisville's top guy, let's throw Isaac Brown in, I think are better. But yeah, Texas A&M just has more. And the big difference between Louisville and Texas A&M to me, well, the quarterback's more mobile and just better, but the offensive line for Texas A&M is way, way better pass blocking than Louisville. So Louisville had to go to the quick game to kind of get away from the fact that they couldn't block. Texas A&M can block. Like they can max protect even against us, and they'll be able to get time and throw downfield. They love to do that. They'll keep a tight end in. They'll drop back. They'll get plenty of space from Marcel Reed, and he'll just launch it down the field and let Craver, Bethel Roman or one of these guys run under it. They do that a lot. So very, very different than Louisville, I think, in the way they'll attack us. Agreed.
And Kyle said it there in the comment. Reed gives you a lot more than Miller Moss does with his legs.
Yeah, and he's tough. He's good.
And with he's got a good arm too. I mean, his arm's not bad. It's the inconsistencies, I think, with some of the accuracy. And you talked about how when everything's not perfect for him, it can get a little bit crazy. But on the same token, he can get outside of the pocket and make plays downfield.
No doubt. And he's mentally good. Like he makes some bad throws. He makes some bad decisions. I think he makes more bad throws than bad decisions, to be honest. I think that's where he gets into these interception problems, although sometimes he will force it. But I think mentally he's very good. Like he's a winner, Marcel Reed is. Like he'll throw a pick and he'll come back and shake it off and he'll be ready to make you pay the next time. I like he's made of the right stuff. That's why they're in the playoffs, or one of the reasons why they're in the playoffs. Defensively, in terms of impact guys, they've lost a lot. Like it's amazing that Texas A&M is here now, right? Because if you think about the guys that they lost on defense, they've lost some incredible players over the years that were never on good teams because the offense was so bad. Now the offense is good and you're missing some of those defensive guys. If they had some of the defensive guys that they had on some of these prior teams, they would have been like a national championship favorite. I mean, Shamar Stewart, Walter Nolan, who was there before he transferred to Ole Miss, Edgar and Cooper, the guy from the Packers. I mean, these guys.
Edgar and Cooper, that's Stan Dobar's client, man. FRM.
He's one of the best linebackers in the NFL. It's like those guys are studs. I don't know if they really have those kind of studs this year on defense. I know Cassius Howell is a very good college player. He's good. Like, he's good. He could easily get a sack in this game and make a big play that hurts us. He does it pretty consistently. I think he's like 11 and a half for 12 on the year. But he's limited. So I think part of this, and Ahmmon got to this, is remember how Louisville really hurt us down the stretch with some of these Isaac Brown runs where we're flying upfield and it was like 3rd and 8 and we're flying upfield to get a sack and he would just run for a quick first down to the spot that was vacated either by the blitz or by just an overly aggressive pass rush. I think you could do that to Howell because he's going to need to just really cheat outside to get around Markel Bell, right? Because he's not going to go through him and it's a long way around. So he's got to really sort of be exaggerated unless he beats him with an inside move to get outside on him. And if he does that, that could open up some running lanes. So they don't have the dudes that they had in 2023, right? The team Miami beat at the Rock. Like, they don't have those kind of guys on the defensive side, but the offense is night and day from the 2 Texas A&M teams that Miami played.
Yeah, agreed. Good matchup though, man. Really good matchup.
Yeah, we have plenty of time to talk about that as well. But again, you want to remember this moment in time. Sit down in front of your couch wearing the gear. Get your CFP shirts, sweaters, all that at the Miami Hurricane Team Store. Promo code INSIGHT20 will get you 20% off your first item. This is, again, we've been waiting for a while for this, guys. Pretty much 10 years since I guess 11 years now since the first CFP where Jameis Winston in Oregon. I remember watching that one. Ezekiel Elliott going crazy. Those guys are all old NFL players now. But if you want to relive this moment of just getting there and being part of this and hopefully winning the whole thing, get the shirt. 2025-26 college football playoff shirt, sweaters. They got it at the Hurricane Team Store, MiamiHGS.com, or across the street from the University of Miami next to the Thesis Hotel. Promo code INSIGHT20. INSIGHT20 will get you 20% off your first item. Yeah, man, fired up. It's going to be fun. It'll be fun. So we'll,
Yep.
If you're in the Touchdown Club, we'll see you at Duffy's tonight. If not, sign up. That's a fun thing to be part of, doing good stuff in the community. And yeah, man, we'll be around, but a lot of content coming soon as we get ready for this Texas A&M game, and portal never stops. We'll plenty to talk about here.
Stay tuned, guys. Going to be doing something special with Lomelo's Meat Market here coming up in the next few days. So stay locked on socials. I'll announce it here on the show as well. Lomelo's Meat Market. Check out lomelos.com for fresh Wagyu beef delivered to your door. D, we got anything else here?
No, man. Go Canes. Like and subscribe.
See you guys later.